guys already know what this is. It's Steffi. It's Victoria. We got a great show planned for you guys tonight. It is, am I going to be taken off of the show? Probably, because Steffi and Victoria are just going to take over this show. But let's get into it, guys. Steffi, what's going on?
Not much. Just Friday, finally. Excited to be here with both of you. Miles Sanders apparently is not dead, to be clear, as Sam has changed his name to. I'm pumped to be back. I don't think Victoria and I have been on a show in like a minute, so I'm very excited. This will be fun.
Yeah, this is great. Victoria, what about you? What's going on?
Yeah, I haven't been on a show with either of y'all in a hot sec, so hold on. Just wanted to do that quick.
Wait,
Had to crack those claws.
Iced cheese?
In honor,
nice.
yes.
Is it lemon?
It's lemon. It's not my favorite.
It is.
Lemon is fine, but it'll do for right now. You know, we can always open another one in a couple minutes. So I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
So before we start, I just want to, everyone needs to know where they can find both of you. So Victoria, where can everyone find you? What do you got? What are you working on? What do you got going on right now?
You can find me at milessandersisn'tdead.com.
Nice.
Just kidding.
He's not dead. He's not dead. We will discuss this. He's not dead.
Absolutely not. You can find me at FFB_Victoria. Doing a bunch of stuff for Ball Blast Football. You can catch me every Tuesday night streaming live at 9 Eastern on the Ball Blast Dynasty Playbook, a brand new podcast from Ball Blast. Yeah.
Awesome.
Come hang out with me and John and Jake. We had our debut episode this week, and that was so fun. And I also am a contributor to Football Guys, working on my rankings for PPR, non-PPR right now.
And Steffi, of course, everyone knows you're all over Twitter, but what do you got going on right now?
I don't know why people see that. Yeah, you can find me on your timeline is where you can find me. You don't need to know my handle. No, you can find me at 7 L's. Those are Tom Brady's 3 L's, to be entirely clear what they stand for. Other one, 2 of
Nick
them are from
Foles.
the New York Giants, and one is from Nick Foles, who went to college with me. So thank you. I appreciate you for that. But yeah, you can find me on your timeline or at Stephanie Smalls and with FTN. My show Small Talk. I also had a meeting today. Have some very fun stuff coming up in the near future. I'm very excited. So you're not getting rid of me too quick. I'm going to be here for the long run.
And you also started hosting with Nick from Play to Win as well. And I watched that show last night, and that was awesome.
What an awesome show. You know when you go on a show and it's just the dialogue is there. And I know Victoria and I both, we always say it's and Sam, you're one of them too, but for every Nick, there's a creep, right? That's how it works here. But Nick is one of the most genuine, awesome guys in this space. I know, Victoria, I'm pretty sure your first podcast was on his stream, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, yes. He gave me my first shot. Yep.
He's just such an awesome person. And I couldn't have imagined that show go any better last night. I was so happy with how it went. Very natural, very organic, just talked football, some dynasty, all the things everyone loves. So it was very fun, and then of course Friday shows with that guy Dave Kluge or whoever the hell that is.
Who?
Yeah, I don't know. He just asked me if we could do the show, and I was like, yeah, sure.
I watched that show today with Mike. That was a good show too. I caught a little bit of that. But yeah, let's get into it. The draft just ended. We finally had some time to rewind. I'm sure. I know Steffi's been on her fair share of shows, this week breaking down the NFL draft, but we have one more, to break down. And this is going to be that last show to break down. So, let's get right into it. Obviously the 49ers, went with Trey Lance at 3, but were you guys surprised at that pick? Was that a good pick? Steffi, what do you think?
I think it was a fantastic pick. I don't think there's a better placement for this guy, right? Show me a better system than Trey Lance in a 49er system. This is beautiful. Even if we see Jimmy G for a little bit, that's okay, because Trey Lance is, I think he has the most raw talent out of all of these quarterbacks, but he's not quite NFL ready. There's things there that need to get fixed, but they're fixable. So you give him a guy like Shanahan, you give him all these weapons. Even, we laugh at Jimmy G. I even, I joked around about him saying, whatever he is going to do to Trey Lance that Brady did to him, which is just so stupid. But like that's still a good quarterback that you can learn from. He's gone to a Super like this is a good system for this guy to actually learn, and it's only going to set him up for success. Like players like this that aren't quite NFL ready but have all that raw talent, all the ability in the world. You want them in a perfect scenario like this. This is beautiful. So I love Trey Lance. Like I'm picking him up anywhere I can, even if he doesn't play until, so they say, even if you don't see him till week 6, he's going to perform in the future for you phenomenally. I think he's a fantastic, fantastic quarterback. I'm very excited to see what he does in this league.
Victoria?
I feel the same. Ever since I saw, of course, the video of Josh Allen endorsing Trey Lance and to ignore the haters. And I said, okay, Trey, I'm on your side now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the 49ers were the best landing spot for a quarterback in general, right? They're a very well put together team already. Their receivers are fantastic. Kittle's a beast. Their defense is incredible. I mean, there was no better landing spot really for a quarterback here. So I am hoping to see Lance sooner than later, as pretty as Jimmy G's face is and the scruff, whatever. But I want to see Lance running all over the field and tossing TVs. So
Jimmy G Lance, Jimmy G Lance, like 49ers fans everywhere should be rejoicing. Like
absolutely.
This is such a perfect fit. And you know what? Oh my God, are we going to get some good football out of this guy for years to come? I'm so very excited about it.
And speaking of pretty, while we're still on that topic, your favorite person to troll over the last week, Steffi, is Zach Wilson. Do you think he's going to succeed in the Jets organization?
So I think the Jets should have taken Fields because look at the Jets, right? And I applaud them. They did a great, their draft was phenomenal. They did a very good job. But how do those pieces fit together with a new coach and a new, I'm just not seeing the pieces fitting together that well. And then you give them a new quarterback and it's like, I don't know. All I hear is Sam Darnold 2.0. Like that's all I hear. I think he's someone that, again, he's one of the guys where I didn't feel like he was as NFL ready as someone like Justin Fields. So I think he would have benefited from, sitting and learn, like he needs to learn a few things. He's a little panicky. I don't like panicky quarterbacks. That stresses me out. He hasn't seen a lot of competition. So he will probably be successful. I think his talent level is definitely, I would say probably, I don't even know. I'm not going to even go that far. He was not very high on my QB rankings, let me tell you. And I stand by that. I just think that there's a lot of fine tuning that needs to be made. And we see this, this is a tale as old as time where you get a guy like this who has the talent, he's not quite ready, and then you put him into a system and just expect him to do well. And you know what? Playing in New York, other than, and I said it last night, I don't know, Victoria, if you watched it yet, but Buffalo is the good witch. And the New York Giants and the New York Jets are the wicked witch of the damn West. Like that is, it is brutal to play in New York. Granted, they play in New Jersey, so the real team is, but Buffalo is the real New York
Let's
team.
go.
But it's not easy to play for a New York team. So I think that he will have definitely success, but we'll see. He's going to struggle, I think, in the beginning a little bit. But he is a phenomenal, to me, I'm going to say it, fine. I think he does have more talent than Sam Darnold did coming into the league. But I think that he will have a harder time because he hasn't faced as hard of competition as some of these other guys have.
And definitely the spot in New York plays a lot into it. The same thing happened with Wentz in Philadelphia. I just don't think he was ready for the spotlight and the fans and the psychoticness of it all is a really good word for it. I mean, the first time you do anything wrong in a city like that, whether it's New York, Dallas, Philadelphia, the fans, they'll jump all over you. And you can notice I'm leaving this comment from
I'm ignoring
Michelle up. So, but Victoria, what do you think?
But I'll still take Daniel Jones over Zach Wilson this year because of the fact that I think that system's more secure than the Jets is right now. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket on the Jets. I think Wilson's a nice stash. He's just like in redraft, like I would never be taking Wilson. It's too much of a risk for me, especially with all those weapons, all that, there's just a lot going on. I need a little bit more of an easy picture. I need to see where the pieces are going to play out. So I don't fully, I think they had a beautiful draft. They just don't see how it's piecing together yet.
And Victoria, what do you think? Your new nemesis.
Nemesis. They're not even.
He doesn't even deserve nemesis yet, huh?
They're just down here. They're nothing. They're not even. They're an afterthought, right? I totally agree with Steffi. Brand new coaching staff. There's so many new pieces for them to figure out. Their new head coach, Robert Saleh, obviously a defensive mind, yet they added all these new pieces on offense. I don't see them really, if they are going to come together, it's 100% not this year. Maybe in the next couple if Wilson takes a step. But I kept reading everywhere he had pretty horrible competition in his 2020 season, and people weren't sure if he was actually excelling or if it was he was playing horrible defenses. On the other hand, my boy Justin Fields, Peter Schrager said no quarterback drafted in the last 10 years has faced a more difficult defensive schedule than Fields did in 2020.
That's my QB1.
That's what I'm saying. How are you going to overlook a guy? How does a guy like that fall to 12? How does he fall? I just don't understand what the Jets saw in Wilson that they love so much more over someone like Justin Fields. I'll never understand that.
And the advantage now that Fields has because, Chicago can pretend that they're not going to start him. I kind of do believe that. I think that is probably what's going to happen just because we know the coaching staff and the front office and everything and the way that they run things over there. But Justin Fields is more NFL ready. I just don't understand how you pass that up. And Justin Fields now is going to get even more of an advantage because he's going to have extra time to fine tune. And he already didn't really necessarily need it. So it's
Absolutely.
I just don't understand the thought process, but I applaud the Jets and what they did. And I think they are actually rebuilding. So kudos because, but also find your own stadium probably.
Absolutely. And with the Jets, just firing Adam Gase was a huge step in the right direction for them. It remains to be seen how much he really killed Sam Darnold's growth and thing. I'm of the opinion that Sam Darnold is not good at all. He lost all his talent. Adam Gase kind of sucked it out of him.
Adam Gase is the reason why Peyton Manning was really good.
Exactly. So that's why that's the kind of duality you kind of have to deal with it. How much of Sam Darnold's being terrible was really Adam Gase, and how much of it was just Sam Darnold not being as good as everyone thought he was. And remember, the NFL is not a historically good talent evaluator. They thought Sam Darnold, was the number one guy in the class, and it really wasn't close back then.
You're talking is
whoopsie.
Zach Wilson. That's all I hear. It's just I don't know. He gives me those vibes. I think he will be more successful because I do think Darnold stepped into a shittier system, right? Let's be serious. I think they're actually trying. You saw them, take an O-line. They are addressing things to make sure that he's prepared to do as well as he can. I just think that, as a Giants fan, just because you get a new coach, it doesn't mean you're getting a winning record, right? So that is my best advice that I can give a team that gets a new coach. Just because you get a new coach, it does not mean you're going to win as 9 games, right? That's not how it works.
And I want to go to the Fields trade because that was obviously the big move of night one. The Bears moving up to get Fields was kind of something that really and nobody saw. But the fact that it happened with the Giants was really the shocking part because Dave Gettleman just does not trade down. I think Steph talked it into existence. She probably was on the phone with Gettleman right before, and he was telling her he wanted a hog molly, and she's like, "Nah, you have to trade down." So that's what he did, and they traded up and grabbed Fields. So where is Fields gonna be the guy in year one? How long is it really gonna take him before the Bears say, okay, and Andy, it's been enough time. You know, we're going to give the kid some time, and because I really think Fields is the number one QB like this year right away.
Guys, they're gonna get to practice, right?
Exactly. Training camp.
Is gonna like do something, and they're gonna be like, "Okay, Justin, do what Andy did," and then Justin's gonna do it like 200 times better, and they're gonna be like, "Never mind." But I feel bad for Andy Dalton because you remember when he like did his press conference and he was like, I'm trying not to laugh because it's so mean, but he's like, "I decided on the Bears because this was my only chance to start."
Another big whoopsie. No, jeez.
Poor Andy. Poor Andy.
We know the Bears. They might just start Andy Dalton, but let's be serious. Like, Justin Fields right now at this time, and Andy Dalton has, you know what? He had a great career. He's just not a starting quarterback anymore.
I feel that. I'm totally with that because Justin Fields, there's no reason he should have fallen that far. You know, there's a great argument to be made. Jay made a good point earlier. Fields was the only other QB that really should have been considered at number one there. It shouldn't have been Wilson. It wasn't going to be Lance because he's too raw. Fields is ready like right now to start. So it wouldn't shock me if he's starting week one, and I would probably put him above Trevor for 2021 if we go right there. But let's go to this. All right, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if we knew he was starting week one, I think I might put him above Trevor too. But
yeah, for 2021, I mean, the only downside to doing that is that Jacksonville is going to throw a ton this year.
But also, I think that the Chicago, like, if you look at the layout there, I think it's a little more defined. Whereas I think Lawrence is going into a system that's not like, okay, this is exactly how this is going to go down. Like, these are the playmakers. This is the way the defense is going to operate. Like, I just think that the Bears do have a system, somehow. Look what they did last year. I mean, they managed to go as far as they did. So, like, they have guys there. It's not like they have some of my favorite guys on defense and on the O-line there, but like, I just think that it's more defined. And you know what? God bless Allen Robinson. Finally, for the love of God.
He's got to be so happy. And I said this on the show the other night. I feel like when Allen Robinson saw that pick come across the screen, he ran outside and hugged the first person he saw as hard as he could. Just because
it was like that Antonio Brown video when he finds out he's off the Raiders. That was Allen Robinson.
He was running around, right? He was running around his backyard, if I remember correctly. What a crazy one. But we have to hop to the second trade, and it's the trade that will make Steph very upset here. It is the Devonta Smith trade that the Eagles hopped ahead of the Giants to making a trade with our sworn enemies, the Dallas Cowboys, and sometimes the enemy of their enemy is their friend. So that's what happened here.
All right, Joe Judge, relax.
I love Devonta Smith. You guys know that he was my wide receiver one through this entire process. It hasn't changed. It still isn't going to change. But what do you guys think about Devonta Smith? And please try to be a little bit unbiased here, Steph.
I'll let Victoria go first. I'm too chatty. Let Victoria go, please.
Well, the Eagles did not draft a quarterback for all these people in my mention saying, oh, Jalen Hurts top 5, not after they draft a quarterback.
How long entertained that narrative? Like, y'all really thought that was happening? The dude played 4 games. Grow up.
So silly. And like, I understand NFL franchises have a shorter leash nowadays, but not, like you said, 4 games short of a leash. So I am so excited they got Hurts a wide receiver one. He's immediately the best offensive player on the Eagles. As soon as he was drafted, he's going to be getting probably most of the targets. Him and Goddard will split the lead in the targets. And I am so happy he landed in a friendly landing spot there. I think he'll help that offense immensely. And I'm so excited to have him prove everybody wrong with this BMI crap. I'm so over it. I can't wait till he gets on the field and just blows everyone's minds again. So,
absolutely. Steph?
Listen, I'm happy for him. I think that this is like, I think that you know what? It's so funny. I was saying last night too, or maybe 2 nights ago. I don't even know what night because it's like too many shows. But I think that fantasy, like being in the fantasy community has made me like gain respect for other teams that maybe I didn't have before because I respect the players so much. I think that, you know what, Smith Oh my God, I'm gonna throw up even saying this. Smith fits into.
Let me record this.
Oh God, Smith fits into the Eagle system better than he would have on the Giants. Oh my God, I said.
Does it hurt you to smile while you say that?
It hurts, but I also I am so ready for Smith to shut everyone up. And I think that Smith is a great asset for Hurts. And I think it'll only make Hurts excel. There's no reason now because everyone, the biggest thing that they say about Hurts is his arm. Okay. You want to know what? He didn't have weapons, bro. Like watch him in college. You want to see his arm? Go watch his college games. Like he can throw the damn ball. He needs a damn weapon. So now you're giving him a weapon who he knows. So that's the key there. So this is great. So it's going to depend on the supporting cast to make sure that can happen. My only knock on Hurts is I don't love how I actually love it because it's badass. Like he's like, I don't care. I'll take any hit ever. So I don't love that from like a medical school standpoint. Like that scares me. But I respect. I can't hate on the Eagles anymore because of Foles. I have like Foles in my blood that I can't. But I think this is a great spot for Smith, and I just want him to go out there and prove to everyone. First of all, he's going to show up 10 pounds heavier. We all know this, right? Like everyone knows that. Like
he's going to eat Chipotle bowl. He's going to eat Chipotle bowl.
Weigh at least 8 pounds heavier because that's what happens when you get to the NFL and there's a nutritionist making
in a weight room
$200 a damn year to feed him and give him a diet plan. And it's quarantine, so times are different, and it doesn't matter because you can't break something you can't catch, right? You're not catching him, so good luck, unless you're playing the New York Giants, obviously. But I think that Devontae Smith, I'm happy for him. I think it was a good placement. Definitely a good placement fantasy wise. He's going to end up getting 100. He's going to get a majority of those targets. He will be the most targeted player on that team without a doubt in my damn mind.
Yeah, and you guys are going to have no complaint from me. Again, I've been banging the table for Devontae Smith to the Eagles since December. You guys both have seen me all over the place with it. So, for me, I think he's going to go in there. He's going to get 100-plus targets year one. It's not like anyone else is going to catch 100-plus targets there, no matter how few times Hurts throws the ball. And this is going to be more of a balanced offense under Sirianni. But you still need a guy to go out there and be the alpha, play that.
Game changer. That's a game changer, right?
Exactly. He's going to play the T.Y. Hilton role.
On that for a little bit, and that's all due respect. It's just that you guys have messed that up a little bit. But this is exactly what both of these players need to succeed. So even if you guys don't do as well as everyone's hoping, these two players are going to do well in fantasy.
They're going to be fantasy studs. They're going to be fantasy studs. If you guys need any reinforcement on Jalen Hurts, Victoria is one of the biggest Hurts stands that I have seen in a while. You can go check out her articles on it. And then as far as Devontae Smith goes, I mean, the guy was the best receiver in college football last year. It wasn't close. He won the Heisman.
Receiver hasn't won the Heisman in
30 years,
bro.
30 years.
I don't understand the argument. That's like, the Heisman winner. Oh, he's just okay. He's like the sixth best wide receiver. Really? What are we doing here?
It's not like, and no disrespect to him, but his closest BMI comp to entering after a combine, or we obviously didn't have that scenario, but is Calvin Ridley. Devontae Smith is not Calvin Ridley. He's a different person. He's a different animal, right? So you don't get to bring BMI into the conversation because of his football IQ, because of his awareness on the field, because of the player he is. He has such good body control. And I love my new thing now that I'm getting deeper into film is with wide receivers. I decided that my favorite trait is body control. If you can get actually very much touch, not just breaking tackles, I'm talking you're getting hit and you still score a touchdown, that's sick. Body control, you have that much balance and awareness of your body to be able to continue going after you just got hit. So I think Devontae Smith is going to do just fine. All these BMI little freaks can just chill out.
And I know Steph has been trying to destroy BMI for the past
I'm
3
fighting
months.
the BMI war.
It is a true war because the people out there, they just need to be taught. And this guy, he will end the BMI debate. He may end it forever, honestly.
Yeah.
If he goes out there and produces at the the star level that everyone thinks he will, nobody's going to question BMI ever again because that's just a historical precedent. There hasn't been a guy to succeed like that. And he's going to succeed just because he has the all-star talent. Screw what the analytics say. Who cares
He's not
what they
Joe Schmo. He's
Exactly.
Devontae Smith. This is
He
guy
is the Slim Reaper.
different. Like, it's not the same thing. It's just not like, it's not your average wide receiver coming into the league and getting drafted in the first round. Like,
Sorry, reading the comment.
That is the greatest comment that I have seen in a while, Bo. I love that. But let's move on here because we could talk about Devontae Smith all night. I want to go to the last big move or surprising move of the first round. And it's really the Giants drafting Kadarius Toney over, a couple other guys that might have made a little more sense for the Giants there. So, obviously I got to go to you first, Steph. What did you think about Kadarius Toney? And, set the record straight.
Right. So it's so funny. I was just talking about this on the Friday show I did delete my reaction video because I got a lot of hate from Giants fans. Not because, I was just surprised. It's just not what I was expecting. I mean, imagine being a fan of a team with Gettleman that never trades down. This dude's going to trade down and then take a guy that, I did not see him being on our radar. But looking back on it, doing, my, due diligence and actually looking into it, I think this is an awesome fit. I'm actually very happy now. I think that, this is a type of receiver we don't have on this team. Why did you take Toney? You have Galladay. They're not the same guy. This is a very different type of player. He doesn't need to be the wide receiver one. He needs to be the playmaker. He's explosive. He's very competitive, and he protects the ball. He's the guy that goes in there and just makes plays. And talk about body control. I don't even know how he makes the plays he does. He's basically on the ground and somehow manages to still get up and score. So I think that this is beautiful. I think that he can play anywhere. He's in the backfield, outside, special teams. You're talking about a versatile player that you're getting a great guy. And I know everyone wants to argue this pushes Shep out. No, it doesn't. It pushes Slayton out. Mark my words.
Mm-hmm.
Slayton is getting pushed out of the playbook, period. And I think that you're going to see Toney, do I know that he's going to be great for fantasy this year? Not necessarily. But could he in the future? Definitely. If this is a system where we just have to see how all these guys fit here, right? And what it comes down to is you've got all these weapons, and now what you need is to see if Jason Garrett can actually produce with them. So it's going to come down to what plays are getting called. But this dude's an absolute nightmare for defense in the slot. You can't stop him. So I think he will be an asset to this team. I'm not mad about it. I think if you switch to Z's and Toney, no one would even spoke.
Agree.
Would be saying that the Giants had an A+ draft. And if they seriously, if you swap those two, no one would say one word.
Yeah, and I agree on that. And, the whole thing with Toney is that, the NFL really likes him. The NFL community really loved him. The fantasy community disliked him because the guy he broke out late. He really didn't do anything. He came to Florida as a Wildcat quarterback. And then he got into some legal trouble and was suspended a couple games. He had the assault rifle incident, which I'm sure you read up on. But after
legal rifle,
legal, because he thought someone was coming to kill him.
Yeah, and that's what people forget. If you haven't read that full story, I would have bought a gun and had a legal rifle too.
Yeah.
It was legitimately kind of scary. So it's very different than what Micah Parsons did. And I want to make that clear because there was that one, I don't know if you guys saw this, where they were trying to say that Micah Parsons' character concerns don't even touch how bad Tony's are. And I think that's very unfair.
Yeah.
Tony did not do anything illegal. Micah Parsons literally read his court records.
Yeah, let's not start with Micah Parsons.
But really, don't bring them into the same debate. But honestly, I just think that Tony, I think this is a good place for him. I think Joe Judge knows what he's doing, and he wants to sculpt players to fit a mold that they need. And you know what? The theme of this was special teams, all the way down to Brightwell. So I think that he will do well. He's just, maybe he won't be I don't think to be honest with everyone, Giants are not your team for fantasy this year. Let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Except for Saquon. Except for
Saquon, and even
maybe Golladay
I'm thinking more Rudolph than I am Ingram because of the fact that he's a red zone threat. I think you might see more production out of him even. But I mean, Golladay is but everyone else, you have to see how we just don't know what's going to happen. Too many weapons, which is shocking as a Giants fan to be able to say, but they're not a fantasy team right now.
Correct.
Daniel Jones has definitely a high ceiling, but it's a huge risk there for sure. But I think that Saquon is the only one you can rely on. I do think historically all these guys, they do better with the wide receiver one and less targets, but I'm not buying into Ingram. You can
Vic, you got any thoughts here for, kind of fantasy wise? I don't think he's going to be too much of a threat, but what do you think?
I don't think so as well, at least in redraft. Of course, I'm not probably going near, no offense, many of the Giants receivers here, but I don't understand the hate. I like Tony's tape, and I understand they have a pretty well-rounded wide receiver room, but Sterling Shepard's 28. Galladay's 27, going to be 28 in November. These guys, Dante Pettis, what is he going to? John Ross, I mean, sure, you can try him out. Every team can try him out for a year. I mean, I don't think he's going to be doing much. It was not a bad idea to draft a wide receiver. If they love him, they love him. For fantasy purposes, I'm with Steph here. They're just not a team you're going to target. They spread the ball out a lot. That would be I see it being kind of a frustrating team to deal with in terms of receivers. Who do I start this week? Unless Golladay kind of comes, obviously he's going to be the best receiver on the team, and he's fantastic at contested catches, fantastic in the red zone, fine. He'll be the most highly drafted receiver, ADP-wise, but I don't know. This might be a guessing game for this upcoming redraft season with the Giants receivers.
All right. Well, there was only one pick I really wanted to talk about more, and that's the the ETN pick to Jacksonville at 25, and that was a little bit surprising. Obviously we had Najee go to Pittsburgh at 24, and that wasn't really that surprising. That was kind of in the works for a while. Regardless of the fact that their O-line is worse than a bunch of kids on the playground forming a line together.
It's worse than just Victoria and I lining up.
That is well,
do our best, but you wouldn't.
Najee's still gonna get a ton of touches next year, but I want to talk about the ETN pick because it pushes a RB1 out of fantasy consideration for this basically entire year unless he gets traded. So what do you guys think about ETN? Where is he in your rankings, your boards, that type of thing? Victoria?
Oh goodness. I feel especially hearing Urban Meyer after being oh, we love Tony so much. We were so sad of seeing him go off the board. And then we just it felt reading that he was oh, then we just kind of selected ETN, which I don't think that was the intent of that quote and the way he was interviewed there. However, the quote of him saying ETN's only going to be the third down back and we'll mix him in, and Hyde and Robinson are going to be the 1-2 punch. I don't believe that for 1 second. I think ETN will take control of this backfield, whether that's leading up to the bye week. Right after the bye week, I expect an explosion. That always happens with rookies, right? I expect him to be the lead back at some point. Weird pick, but Meyer's just trying to maybe keep a cohesive offense here with Trevor Lawrence bringing in his teammate, bringing in familiarity. I didn't hate it as much as fantasy Twitter did. I know it muddies the waters and breaks every James Robinson truther's heart, but it is what it is. He was an undrafted free agent. He had a fantastic season, and I don't think he's going to disappear or go away by any means, but it's definitely going to be a 1-2 punch.
The James Robinson truthers, you were warned. You know, they were warned. You know, yeah, you guys took that risk. The guy had no protection. He has no draft capital to protect him. But what about you, Steph? What do you think?
Okay, so we'll be clear on one thing, like just to start out. ETN is not a third down back, okay? Do we all hear
Thank you so much for reiterating.
Yeah, seriously.
He is not a third down back. He is not going to be a third down back. He is going to go into this system and get targets. So I think what their plan was here, and you see this with the young coaches, and I think we saw it across the league, is I think they had their board of their guys that they scouted. And I think they were just crossing names off. So they're not picking, they're drafting for the next 5 years rather than win tomorrow. And I think that's where that pick came into, because they liked ETN. The guys that they wanted were not there anymore. I think ETN deserved to be a round 1 pick. I think he will be very productive there. But he's not a third down back. So please don't listen to Meyer on that. Like, he's going to eat up targets. Like, that's not, there isn't going to be this weird, creepy, like, I don't even know what he was trying to explain. It's just not happening. Like, if you wanted a third down back, you take someone else there and you wait until the second, third round, and then you get a third down back. You don't take a third round back at pick 25. Like, that's just like not how it works, right? No one takes a third down back at pick 25. So, but I think I think he's a great pickup. I still don't know exactly how things are going to play out there. I'm staying away from teams like this where I don't see the full picture quite yet, but he's a phenomenal player, and it's someone that he's also very well known. He knows who it is. He's just not a third down back. And I can't repeat that enough. Like, I think it needs to be very clear. Like, this isn't like, I'm sorry, James Robinson. Like, I'm sorry, truthers. I feel for you, but you took that risk. Like, you decided to join that cult. Like, that was you. Like, so you made that decision. I just don't. I'm sorry. I apologize. Just like, he's not third down back.
Yeah, I mean, with Urban Meyer, you know, the unpredictability there is kind of the thing. And considering that he said that if the Giants hadn't taken Tony at 20, he was going to take him at 25, I'm kind of happier with the fact that my Laviska Shenault shares are safe. And, you know, that I don't have to worry about that. I don't know if I actually don't know if they're safe. You know,
like, I'm like a little nervous about how the target sharing, this is starting to become one of those teams where it's like, how are we spreading targets? And I don't like teams, like, it makes me uncomfortable. Like, I love Shenault, but I just don't, I'm starting to get a little like hesitant. Like, how are we going to actually make this work? Is he going to be throwing to what's comfortable? Is it going to be something where we're doing ETN all day? I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't know there. You know, it's going to be very interesting to see, because that whole offense kind of strikes me as, you know, they don't really know what you're doing. I think you mentioned that earlier in the show that, you know, this is the kind of offense that strikes you as they haven't really figured it all out yet, where someone like the Bears, they figured it out. They know who their number one guy is. They know who the running backs are that they're going to go, and they know who they're going to target. So it just seems like everything's up. Nobody knows whether Chenault's the number one. Nobody knows whether Chark's the number one. Hell, it could be Marvin Jones for all we know. So, yeah, that is
Marvin. That's the thing. That's going to be another wide receiver room that has value, because if you don't know what the heck's going to happen, you know, you pick the guy that you think is going to be the top dog. But absolutely. I was just thinking, though, off the top of my head, no preseason last year. Preseason this year, maybe we'll have a better idea. Of course, I don't know if they're going to get, obviously teams don't give everything away in those games, but maybe we get a better idea of you know, what teams are going to do is seeing a couple preseason games. I don't know. We'll see.
I definitely will be paying close attention to the Jaguars preseason, because you want to see how Meyer's going to run that offense, what kind of style it's going to be, and really how many wide receivers he's going to be able to get into it, because we'll see if Marvin Jones is a nice, you know, late round target for our newly degenerate best ball addict Steph here. So, but let's go wrap this up a little bit. Who won the draft? Either of you.
I like Chicago, but only because, gosh, Fields, that pick was so unexpected, but such a great. I mean, obviously their coaching staff is desperate to keep their jobs, and this might just save them. They did well in the rest of the draft too, but I loved what they did. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Steph?
It's hard. I feel like a bunch of teams. So it kind of depends. Like, I think the Jets really did have one of the best overall drafts. Like, I think that before you try to like fit them in, like they did very well with the picks that they had. Like, it's impressive. So, and it kind of sickens me to say it, but I am leaning more towards the Jets. I do like what the Jets did. Like, to me, that's impressive. So between the Jets and Chicago, I do like what both of those teams did. I give Chicago probably the upper hand there because of the system they already have built in. And I don't know if I'm basing that very much off of, like, is it because Allen Robinson is there maybe? But I think that, I do applaud the Jets. They are impressing me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't expect it to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers had a nice draft too.
Chargers too.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just thinking that.
That was going to be my pick because the Rashawn Slater pick just falling into their laps at 13. And I know Bo said it earlier. He wanted the Cowboys to take Slater. I also was kind of convinced they were going to take Slater. But he was your tackle one in this draft. I know that. And he was a lot of people's tackle ones. He was very close from me as well. And we might get into some offensive tackle ratings a little bit later on. But, if Steph will deign to share them with us, since I know she loves her O-lineman.
I know. I'm like, look at me all like starting to like peek out my rankings. I never like see my rankings, and now everyone's pulling.
We got to tease them out slowly but surely.
Actually, I don't think the Bills did as bad as like some people are like trying to be all critical. Like, I think they did good.
Thank you so much. It just was not sexy or fun. That's all. Nobody wants to talk about they went defensive end.
If you're good.
Exactly. It felt so weird because I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, we could do anything here. Oh my.
I do think the NFC East, like, people are not going to call it the NFC least anymore. I applaud all of the teams. I think across the board, they did very well. I think maybe Washington might have been my least favorite draft out of all of us. But I think otherwise, the NFC East showed up and they were like, okay, you guys laugh. That's fine. We're just going to rob the draft.
And it's hard. It was hard for us not to kill that draft with so many picks spread out between all of the teams that we had there. I was kind of surprised that Washington didn't make any moves for a quarterback at all. I really thought they were going to go move up, whether it was for one of the QBs that fell. Maybe they just didn't have Mac Jones graded highly. Not that they should have, but
it's better for all of us, though.
It is. Yeah.
The one thing I said was Washington's biggest mistake is not addressing the quarterback in this draft, because what's going to happen next year is, okay, great. Like, we're all excited because we have Fitz Magic there and it's great for fantasy and all of our McLaurin shares look so nice and pretty. But what are you going to do when Fitz is like he's not a spring chicken? So like,
correct.
What's the end plan there? Because you guys are going to end up probably like winning the NFC East. You're going to put yourself in a bad draft position. And then how are you going to get, like, this was your best chance at getting a quarterback.
That's such a great point. Oh my goodness.
Like, I don't understand what the plan was. They're like, this was the time to do it. Give up the draft capital. Your team is right there. You literally only needed a quarterback. You guys could have just left the draft, given all your picks up, drafted the guy like Justin Fields, and you guys could have made a Super Bowl run. But instead, we're like going to take Fitz, and then Fitz hasn't started 16 games since 2015, and we're going to expect him to play all 16. And then what? And then when he maybe gets hurt, Heineke, you guys think he's going to
I was going to say, you don't believe in Taylor?
Beginner's luck.
Forget Taylor Heineke. What about Kyle Allen?
Oh, no. No. We don't have time for that.
I just don't, that's the only move. But God, you know what? Someone put into the universe that Aaron Rodgers is like thinking about Washington, and I swear on God, I'm gonna be.
What?
Dude, I won't be able to live with it.
I will
won't
be a
able to live
Buffalo
with it.
fan. I swear to God, I will be.
I'll be a Chargers fan. I'll go with the Chargers.
My new threat is to be a Buffalo fan. I threaten it all the time now. I'm like, I will go be a Buffalo fan. I don't care.
Girl, you
So
already
take
are.
your loyalties to upstate New York.
Be honest with yourself. Dig deep into that heart. You already are, honey. Honey.
It's like I love more than the others. And obviously, Buffalo. But Chargers, I am. Everyone should watch out for the Chargers though, because taking Slater, you're giving Herbert like another 10 seconds in the pocket. Like,
And he already
did.
Yes. Oh my God. When that pick happened, I was like, oh, Justin. And
What a
obviously my
great
baby.
placement. Like
Eckler.
all the skill players that like everyone gets frustrated with, you're gonna be so happy you kept them in Dynasty. I promise.
And I wanted to pull this. I wanted to pull this up in case the Chargers came up on this show. And I saw this earlier on Twitter from Reddit. Some guy posted this, and it says that Tampa Bay finished the 2019 season at 7-9. They drafted an OT at pick 13, drafted a DB in the second round who was named after his father, and then proceeded to win the Super Bowl in their own stadium the following season. The Chargers finished 7-9 last year. Draft Rashawn Slater,
No.
draft Asante Samuel Jr., and SoFi Stadium hosts the Super Bowl next
Let's go.
year. This
Let's
is
go.
happening. It is happening.
I love
And
it.
So-
like Trey McKitty and Trey McKitty.
And
is
Trey
gonna go
McKitty will win a
Gronk.
Super Bowl.
Oh,
So
Trey.
Trey McKitty is gonna be Gronk.
if it happens, you heard it here first on this show.
Wow, that's crazy.
That is absolutely crazy. But I wanted to get a quick recap of what you thought of the Giants draft. Before we move on to the next topic, Steph, because I know you told everything how you thought about Tony, but and you and I talked about Aziz the other day a little bit. But let's hear it from your side.
So if I were to give the Giants like a grade, it's a B plus. That's
Okay.
like an 89, 87, like B plus. Like I'm not going to give them an A. They don't deserve an A. But I think what this is proven, I think you saw it with these younger coaches and these new coaches, is like you're not drafting for this year. And I think it's very frustrating for fans, and they have a hard time like stomaching that. Like you're drafting for the next 5 years. Like, you're drafting guys that you can mold and build into the system and that will play a part. Like everyone laughs. The Giants did win 6 games. Like we all realize that, right? Like it's not like if for some reason the common like conception is that they won 3 games. It's not the case. And they didn't lose those games by much. It's like 6 of those games were lost by maybe 1 to 3 points. So they were in those games. Is that there was flaws within that system. Would I have liked them to take an O-lineman? Yeah, for sure. I just think that they do, they believe in these guys. Great. Solder comes back. Everyone knows I'm a Matt Pert stan. If he does not start this season, again, I will threaten it one more time. I will be a Buffalo fan. If Matt Pert is not on the field, I swear to God, I will be a Buffalo fan. That's it. I think Aziz is going to be one of the steals of the draft. Somehow the Giants have made a name for themselves. We stole McKinney last year, but they're also one thing that they said with this draft is like we're looking at maybe one of the best secondaries in the league, if not like they have the potential there to be the best secondary. I mean, looking at it, they even kept addressing it and they kept doing it. I'm like, Aaron Robinson, like you're still going. Like, was it not enough? Like you're still going for it. So I'm very pleased. I think that they did a good job. People do like Ellerson Smith. I haven't gotten a chance to look at his film yet. People love him. They did a good job. They addressed the things they need to. And I loved, obviously, because I went to U of A, and taking an Arizona player is like a dream come true. I already ordered a jersey. But I think that they're addressing the things they need to. So you have a running back that can play special teams, which I think you will see Brightwell on the field. I think he has that aggressiveness that both, Gettleman and Judge like, but they're showing that they want to give longevity to Saquon. And that's something that we haven't seen in the past. And that's why Saquon has gotten hurt, is because you're expecting him to be the only guy. you can't be the only guy. Like, that's it. Like, so I think they did a good job addressing the needs that were there. And I think, you look at even, we joke about them taking ETN. I think the Giants also drafted in a very similar way where they had a board. And if their guy was there, their guy was there. And that's the person they were taking. They weren't drafting for a position, something that was open. They were just taking the guy that they felt like they needed at that moment. And the Giants low key went into this draft like, okay, like we could have went into the next year without the draft and I would have been comfortable. So just adding these weapons, last year I thought we'd win 5 games. This year, I think we'll win 8. Hopefully it's 9 and I'll be happy, like that. You can only ask for progression. You can't expect teams to go and make a Super Bowl run. But I think that the Giants get a lot of hate. And I'm probably one of the most realistic fans that you will ever encounter. Like, you will not encounter a more like realistic Giants fan than myself. But I don't know why we're acting like they couldn't make a playoff run, because they very much could. It's going to rely on Jason Garrett, the O-line, and Daniel Jones, period. If those things can all be a little bit better than next year, then there's going to be a problem. And we have a pretty easy schedule. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, we'll see about the Jason Garrett thing.
Yeah, we will.
That's the only.
Yeah, that's the main issue. That's the main issue.
Yeah.
That's the piece that worries me personally.
Absolutely, and rightfully so. But
Joe Judge did, I think we picked up 50 coaches in the offseason. We're prepared to fire him halfway through. I think it's very obvious. I will not be surprised if he gets fired by week 6, unless he's able to show that he's actually using his brain. I think that he will be fired by week 6 because they brought in so many guys. They upgraded Freddie Kitchens' position there. And I think they're ready to just make the transition. Sia Garrett and Colombo were Mara hires. And I don't think Judge is totally bought into. Daniel Jones wouldn't even talk to the guy the last time he played. There's a clip. I'll have to send it to you guys. It's so funny. Jason Garrett went to sit down next to Daniel Jones. It's so funny. And he goes to show him something, and Daniel literally scoots over and looks the other way. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. By the end of the season, he was so over it. That Ravens game, he was just getting killed and playing so well, but Jason Garrett doesn't know how to call a football game. But you get Saquon back. That's what everyone forgets. Saquon Barkley. This is it. You're your average person.
Everyone is gonna forget that. I swear, everyone's gonna. He'll open up that offense by himself. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that.
I'm happy. I am a content fan.
That's good. That is important, and it's been years since the Giants have really had anything to be happy about.
It's Joe Judge.
We will see. I'm prepared for us to be at the bottom of the cellar this year. So
That's where I see you guys.
Hey, I am also a very realistic Eagles fan. So I will be content with a nice year of development from Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts, and we will go from there. And hopefully, we have 3 first-round picks next year, so we can do whatever the hell we want.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have 2.
Yeah.
And 2/3 and 2/4.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun 2022 draft for the NFC.
That's the best part, right? You blow it. Daniel Jones blows it. It doesn't matter because we can trade up and get the next best guy. It just doesn't matter.
That's true.
Ain't happening, though.
They put themselves in such a good position. That I like. And I think the Eagles, though, I will applaud the Eagles. I think they're actually rebuilding, which you don't see all the time. They're actually trying to rebuild.
Yeah, and it's definitely more of a retool than a rebuild for them. I don't think they believe in rebuilding. I know that after the Chip Kelly years back in 2015 and 16, it was going to be a rebuild, and then we drafted Wentz, and then suddenly it turned into a retool, and then we won the Super Bowl. So, yeah, that happened.
For the Bills, anyways, it doesn't matter.
Guys, it just doesn't matter. It's really cute that y'all are.
I want to ask Victoria one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking over the show.
I will sit back.
Patriots. How do you think the Patriots did?
I think that people that are saying Mac Jones won't see the field this year are insane.
People
I
are
mean,
saying
they were.
that?
Oh yeah, no, I'm seeing it so many places, and just
They actually said that. They actually said that.
I've seen it so much, and I don't understand it because there were so many games last year that Cam.
Belichick never pulled out Cam Newton, right?
But that's the people are clamoring that like, oh, Belichick doesn't want to start a rookie, like he doesn't like rookies. Okay, are we okay? Like, did you watch? Hopefully, you didn't watch Cam Newton last year at all. Like, there were games that were just disgusting, and I say this on basically every podcast I'm on that he had 8 passing touchdowns total, 3 against the Jets in Week 17. Like, there's no way that Cam is going to start the entire season. And I don't like all the hate on the Mac Jones pick. I think he will thrive in that system. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't have to say that, but I mean, they didn't do enough, basically, is what I'm trying to say to dethrone. I think Miami's more of the threat to the Bills here because their coaching staff, Brian Flores, he's doing it. He's doing all the things right there. And the thing of it is, though, as much as Miami might be a threat, Josh Allen is the Miami Dolphins' father. I say it all the time. He goes in there. He's on another level. He throws 5 touchdowns and 7,000 yards every single time. So I just don't see. I'm getting away from the Pats question, but I did like their draft.
This is like this. We haven't even touched on the Dolphins, so I like loved it that you went off track.
Yeah, I think the Pats had a nice draft. It's not enough. I mean,
it's not enough to beat the Bills.
The draft, exactly. The draft was fine. Their free agency, they spent so much money. They got two tight ends. What are you doing? Hoarding all the tight ends, taking Jonnu Smith away from us. My goodness. But I don't know. I don't know what that's gonna look like. But I still think it'll be probably Bills, Miami, probably the Patriots, and the Jets in the AFC East finish. Is my guess.
Yeah, I feel that.
I just think that we already talked about it. The Jets have so many moving pieces that are going to be just hard to bring together to be one cohesive unit in this first year with the new coaching staff.
And that's okay. Like,
yeah, no, of course.
Again, like it's like for Jets fans, like it's not a big deal. It's no offense. It's just like the players need to trust the coach, and the coach needs to trust the players. Like you add a new quarterback. It's not like you're stepping into a system with a quarterback that's already been there. So there's just a lot of pieces that need to go.
Yeah, and what are the established pieces? Is the point we're trying to make? Who?
Mims for 2 weeks? Like
Mims? Oh gosh, people with the man. Denzel Mims. Wide receiver 1. No, Corey Davis is going to be the wide receiver 1 of the Jets. Everyone, please stop with the Mims. He's talented as heck, but he's not. Corey Davis is
who did they draft? Did they draft Diami Brown? Or
no, they drafted
Elijah Moore. Yeah, Elijah Moore is that was a fantastic pick.
Great
and
pick.
I don't want to be a hater here, but when Steph is saying they had a fantastic draft, I thought the same thing. I thought they had a great draft. But I think that every year, to be honest, because I have a family member that's a big Jets fan, and we like to poke fun at each other. And I find myself saying the last couple of years, yeah, they had a good draft, and then you see what happens. So I'm just wary on what they'll do.
Okay, well, as much as I love talking about the AFC East. I want to get into Steffi's offensive tackle ratings because I've been pressing her on this for a little bit now. But
he thinks I'm gonna say something like crazy.
I do because who ranks offensive tackles? Come on, there's no one.
I'm starting my own type of fantasy football with John. Like we are starting a fantasy league. It's going to be called Trenches, and it's going to be awesome. It's just going to be O-line, D-line, and 2 flex positions that are like IDP secondary situations.
And I signed up for Linda's kickers and punters league the other week, and I had zero self-control. So I'm going to be in this trenches league with the rest of you, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. But let's hear your top 5. Because I'm sure it's different from mine, but let's hear it.
You know what I'm going to do is instead of saying my top 5, I'm going to talk about about how I think that everyone's crazy for getting mad at the Bengals
I like
for
that.
not drafting.
Yes.
Like, okay, so let's talk about it. Everyone,
Yeah.
let's just seriously like take a deep breath. We'll take a deep breath. It's fine. They have one of the most improved O lines from last season to now, from where we are right now. Like, so do we just? Are we pretending Riley Reef is not a person? Jonah Williams is still, they've made improvements, period. And you have someone like Chase. Burrow doesn't have to spend as much time in the pocket. See how this works? Like, so you make minimal improvements. You add a guy like Higgins, like they can be great. They can't be great like Chase where he's going to get open the way that he can. So you take away the time that Burrow needs to be in the pocket. You give Riley Reef, you put him there. Who did they draft? What's his name? Carmen?
Jackson Carmen.
You can kick him inside to guard. It's a sustainable O-line. Are they going to be a top 20 O-line? No, but they're not going to be the worst O-line in this league. The Raiders will. But besides for that, like, I don't hate this pick. I actually think it was a smart pick. I think they found a way to fill the holes that are there, but get over it. Like, all you're doing is giving Joe Burrow, he doesn't need as much time in the pocket. You're giving him a generational talent that, yes, I have Higgins. I get it. He's not Chase. So it's very different. And I think that everyone needs to hop off their back. Burrow is going to be okay because they've improved the O-line enough. And by adding that talent, you're taking away time in the pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this was a little bit of a an overblown issue as well. I'm sure you guys saw the meme that floated around of the cartoon Joe Burrow seemingly lying dead on the ground.
The tombstone.
Yeah.
Are you guys kidding?
I saw that
silly.
too.
Everyone pretending like Riley Reef and Jonah Williams are like horrific O linemen. Like, they're literally not. I would have taken them please. If you guys could have had Cam Fleming. Like, take Cam Fleming, send him anywhere. Like that, they're very good players. They still addressed it later in the draft. Like, Carmen has the ability to play guard. So you kick him inside very easily and you solve all the problems, and you at least, they're not going to be great, like I said before, but it's going to be better than last year. And then you add a weapon, it's like, it's already improved.
Yeah, and Reef and Jonah can play either side, so I think they'll be fine. I didn't mind the Chase pick. It actually made a trade that I made a couple days earlier with T. Higgins. It made it a huge win for me instead of a huge win for the other guys. So, it kind of kills most of T. Higgins' value there. At least, in the future it does. But, we'll go from there. But I really wanted to talk about the clubhouse session that Victoria hosted a couple days ago, all about women in sports, what you guys are doing, what we're doing, and how it can be made better. So why don't you give a little bit of background on that, Victoria, as we're wrapping this up here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we had a couple of special guests on our panel, Liz Loza and Brooke Pryor, and of course, Kate and Michelle from Ball Blast Football. And Stefania Bell hopped on. She moved a freaking meeting. She's messaging us like, "Oh, I'm moving a meeting to listen to this." And we're all like, "Oh, okay." That was awesome. She hopped in and answered a question or two. It was just a fantastic panel. It's up on the Ball Blast website. I know you don't see clubhouse sessions recorded very often, but none other than Scott Fish decided to be his generous self as always and record it for us. So that's up on the website. And we just had a fantastic discussion. It kind of snowballed away from specifically being, hey, I'm a woman in sports and here's what we deal with, just being a woman in general, in the workplace, in the world in general, and just the biases we deal with and how to overcome them, and imposter syndrome, which I kind of hit on. Women don't face imposter syndrome themselves. It's women and men alike. And I've been seeing a lot of that on Twitter too, of men tweeting that, like, am I worthy of this accolade or this writing spot or whatever? And we kind of hit on too, if it was a bad thing, because it's a motivator sometimes to feel that way. Or, Steffi and I have talked about this feeling, multiple times of like, what is happening? Do we deserve this? Of course you do. You put the work in, but you have that feeling of like, do I deserve this over somebody else or whatever? And it can be a driver. Liz Loza hit on the fact that can be a good thing and just a driver there. So in the end, we hit on just like what you've already said, Sam, just what can we be doing to continue to lift women up and things of that nature and just make this not be a thing, right? And I feel like we are doing it as we've come into this community and the industry.
Mm-hmm.
People like Steffi helped me out when I was just starting out and had no freaking clue what was going on. She took me under her wing, and her and Cooter and Linda, those are my girls that I'm in the chat with all the time. Kate and Michelle took me under their wing as the first female writer at Ball Blast. Like, if we ourselves give other women the chance and the platform to also do this and to say, yeah, sometimes it sucks and you get a DM or whatever that's just disgusting. And we already know, we talked about it a million times. Steph already said, for every Sam, there's 10 other creeps, right?
Yep.
And that's always going to be the case. But there's also the men that have helped us throughout this as well. Steffi can speak to this after with FTN and stuff, but like, we just need to keep giving each other that platform and supporting each other and lifting one another up, and not enough with the stupid comments about, oh, you're a woman and whatever. All the comments in Michelle from Ball Blast feed, like, that stuff's just got to end. You know, it's ridiculous, but we're already doing what we can here and just lifting each other up, I think.
And I know, Steph, you've done so much for, women, men alike in this space, helping us out. You've helped me out a ton. I know I've come to you a ton for advice, where to go, what to do, all that stuff. But is there anything that we can do better? What else can we do besides, what we've already tried to do?
Yeah, and I'm so upset. I still haven't, and I'm gonna text Victoria after this to send me the recording because I haven't. Like, I tried to find it, and then time gets. I haven't been able to listen to it yet, but it was great. I heard nothing but fantastic things about it. I think one thing that I always bring up when this kind of conversation arises, right, is like changing your own mindset and being aware of when you're starting to be judgmental or like those thoughts are starting to come into your mind. Like, yes. Take a step back and be like, why am I thinking this way? Like, what is it? Because the way I was raised? Because honestly, a lot of the times people, how do I word this and not come off the wrong way, is like, it's not necessarily always everyone's fault that they act and behave the way that they do, because you were raised a certain way. Like, this is a very different time. Like, you were raised to think like blue is for boys, pink is for girls, football is for boys, blah, 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 blah. But like, I mean, I wasn't raised that way personally, but I know a lot of people were. So it's like, yes, when you start feeling that way, like, it's about changing your mindset and thinking to yourself, why am I feeling this way right now? Like, is this the way that I should be thinking? Like, so being aware, like self-awareness and the way that you're treating others is huge, right? Like, we all make mistakes. I've done it, it's very easy to make a mistake because we're humans. Like, it's just how it works. But being self-aware and being able to be like, know when you need to be like, oh, wait, I'm doing this because, in CCD class 10 years ago, like, I was told this is right. You know what I mean? So it's like just realizing why you are acting the way you are, because it's hard sometimes. Like, as humans, we're so, like, we're creatures by habit. So you have to be ready to change that. And it's not an easy thing. And that's why sometimes, like, I try to not get like too intense about it all the time, but also, like, you can't be telling girls, like, stay in the kitchen, bro. Like, it's not the 1940s. Like, come on. And like, a football doesn't, like, to understand football, I think, Ray G and Jordan, like,
yes,
going back to their episode is like, and this is something I always preach, is like, you don't have to have a penis to understand football. Like all of our brains, like if you cut open a dead person, which I've literally done, you cut them up, all of our brains look exactly the same. Like it doesn't matter if you have a penis or not. So it's just like being accepting of other people. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, and also some people, everyone comes from a different background. So you just have to be ready to change your narrative, like, and be okay with like accept your own thoughts too. Like, why am I acting like this? Why do I feel that way? Like, should I be like responding in that way? And it's hard, especially in Twitter, right? Like, we're not looking at each other while we tweet. We're like, just like tweeting aimlessly. Like, you don't know what people's like facial react. Like, so it's just being very self-aware of how you're behaving.
Absolutely.
And be accepting to everyone.
I do need to draw attention to this comment. Please go buy Bo's hot sauce if you haven't already. Guys, gotta make some great hot sauce. I bought the bundle and that it is tremendous. But let's wrap this up a little bit. I want to thank you both for coming on to do this show. I know we ran a little bit over, but I want to thank you both so much for coming on. And why don't you guys plug yourselves one more time? Victoria, what's over with you?
Yeah, you can find me at FFB_Victoria, doing work for Ball Blast and Football Guys.
And Steffi?
Yep. I'm on your timeline, and if I'm
always. Then something is terribly wrong. Something is terribly wrong.
At Steffi Smalls with 3 L's, and I just do my thing, small talk with FTN, have some cool stuff coming up, and that's it. Change your mindset, okay?
Change your mindset. Thank you guys so much. We are done.